St. Louis. Ozzie Smith has been a fixture in that Redbird uniform. 19 seasons, 2,400 hits, 13 Gold Glove awards. It's hard to imagine a St. Louis team without him. Ozzie Smith still playing over 40. He's an old-timer, just like Dave Winfield in Game 1. A great catch. Ozzie Smith, indeed, is still the wizard, Dave Winfield. And yes, it's hard to believe this is Ozzie Smith's final season, but he'd love to pick up another World Series ring with the Cardinals.
I was so happy to be here in St. Louis this time of year. I mean, this could be Ozzie's swan song in front of the people at Busch Stadium. I mean, the National League Championship Series, he may have his last at bat in baseball and in front of these people. He's well-spoken, he's proud, and he's a fantastic guy. I just have to tell you, I had lunch at his place today. He owed me that for all I've done for him, and let's see what he had to say.
Ozzie back. Oh, what a play.
Oh, my goodness. What a play, Ozzie Smith.
What has St. Louis meant to you after all these years?
Well, it's meant everything in the world, and it's been a good union between me and the city, and I think it's a love that's gone back and forth. And I've dedicated myself to this city, and I think the city has dedicated itself to me, and it's been a great ride.
I recall specifically a play on Jeff Burroughs when I knew you could play the game. That smash up the middle and you barehanded, and he threw his helmet down when you threw him out. That, for me, that let me know you could play.
To this day, you know, that's the one play that I think that put Ozzie Smith on the map.
Smith corks one into right, down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy.
The time that I think that people started looking at me as more than just a one-dimensional player was the home run that I hit in the playoffs in 1985. Yes. I think that was the kind of the turning
defining moment.
It was a defining moment for me.
This year when Tony La Russa came in, you guys didn't see eye to eye on playing time. There was a confrontation, ultimately a resolution. Can you tell me just briefly about that?
Well, the only thing that Ozzie Smith was unhappy with was the way it was handled. After playing shortstop in the big leagues for 18 years, I thought and felt that the best way to have approached this would have been to include me on who was coming in to succeed me as a shortstop. And I didn't come into this season to play 150 games. That never was my goal. But nobody ever asked me that. After I made my announcement, I think it relaxed everybody. I think it removed a lot of the tension.
Is it coincidental that the team started playing very well after that?
I think that had a lot to do with it because, as I said, it was a very volatile situation coming in and something that had to be handled with kid gloves.
Ozzie, I still see you have some skills out there. If the circumstances were right, would you come back with another team?
When I leave this game, I want to leave this game playing it as well as I did when I came into it, and I think that this is the time. I have just had my fill of baseball at this particular time. But that's not to say that in the off-season, 2 weeks into it, that I'll say, oh, boy, I'm missing it, and you know, I have to have it. I reserve the right to be able to do that.
Could it get any better for you guys to win it all?
It can't get any better than this. You know, I've had a lot of fun playing this game, man, and it's the greatest game in the world.
Well, there he is, Ozzie Smith, the future Hall of Famer. Tell you what, playing in his 18th year, I think Ozzie Smith could play another couple of seasons in the major leagues. I was a schoolboy here in St. Louis when the Cardinals made that trade with the Padres, sending Gary Templeton out to San Diego and getting Ozzie Smith. It was a controversial deal. Everybody knew about Ozzie's glove, but they were a little worried about his bat. He was a .231 hitter with San Diego in his career, .271 with the Cardinals, and all that man has done is help this team win.
Great player, great man, great career. Ozzie will long be remembered for having created a legacy of defense that your glove is as powerful as the bat.
Well, the Ozzie Smith-led St. Louis Cardinals know who perhaps their World Series competition will be. The New York Yankees have just eliminated the Baltimore Orioles 6-4. The final score, what a rematch this could be. The 1926 World Series. Still some work to be done, though, for the Redbirds. We'll show you how the Yankees clinched the AL pennant when we come back to St. Louis in a moment. Oh, I tell you what tradition here in St. Louis. I think it's the best baseball town in the country, and they would love to see their Cardinals topple the Atlanta Braves. Well, as I said before we went to commercial, we know who the American League champion is. It's the New York Yankees. They've knocked off the Baltimore Orioles 4-1. Final score today in Game 5 at Camden Yards, Yankees 6, Orioles 4. Here's how it happened. Cal Ripken Jr. hoping against hope that it wouldn't be his final appearance in a Royal uniform this year. It was a tough inning for Scott Erickson in the third. Line drive home run off the bat at Jimmy Leyritz has Davey Johnson worried. The solo shot made it 1-0 New York. Top 3-2 on Bernie Williams. Ground ball. Robbie Alomar boots it and says, ah, spit! Another run comes home to score. Yankees take a 2-0 lead. Top 3-2 on. Here comes Big Daddy. Bang! He says Kapaya, long home run into the crowd in left field. That 3-run jack makes it 5-0 Yankees. Scott Erickson wanting the nightmare to end. It doesn't. Darryl Strawberry even said Kapaya today, Steve, over both bullpens. That shot made it 6-0 New York. A 2-run homer by Bobby Bonilla in the ninth against John Wetland made it interesting, but the final out, ironically enough, registered by Cal Ripken Jr., Derek Jeter, probably the Rookie of the Year, gloves it, guns across in time, and the Yankees are the American League champions for the first time since Mr.
Winfield
played for the New Yorkers. And of course, we will have the World Series as you see the score, 6-4 the final in Baltimore. Game 1 of the World Series comes your way here on Fox Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern time from Yankee Stadium.
Gary, I think they do have decaffeinated coffee in that trailer, by the way. Getting ready for game number 4 with my partners, Bob Brenly and Tim McCarver. You know, we talked to Bobby Cox before the start of this game. He said by this point, either team could be up 3-0. As it is, the Cardinals are up 2-1. It's been interesting, some of the strange happenings at home plate.
Yeah, because a catcher and a pitcher's obligation and responsibility is to try to keep the ball off the fat part of the bat, thereby getting more hitters out. That's how you get the majority of hitters out. But it hasn't necessarily happened that way in this series. You may remember in Game 2, the double by Brian Jordan, the double by Ron Gant, they were both broken bat doubles. Conversely, in yesterday's game, first inning, runners on at second and third, Jermaine Dye with a bullet to shortstop, caught by Royce Clayton, and then in the 6th inning, Jermaine Dye again, a bullet to right field, Mark Lemke on base. So often, if you hit it hard, sometimes it's right at a guy.
And Tim, you may have to go back to 1993 to find the last time the Braves were faced with a situation where they needed a win. Despite what everybody says, this is a game they need here tonight.
And they're going with Denny Nagel, who has not started since September 26th.
And is starting his first LCS game. Let's talk to Bob Brenly and talk about the Cardinals. Cardinals starting pitching in this series has been fantastic.
Well, everybody's heard of the Atlanta Braves Cy Young pitching staff, but look what the Cardinals staff has done in the first 3 games of this series. There you see the numbers right there. Andy Bennis, Todd Stoudemire, Donovan Osborne have not only held the Atlanta Braves bats in checks, they have outdueled the big 3 from the Atlanta Braves. And of those pitchers, none of those guys more closely mirrors the Cardinals season than Andy Bennis. The Cardinals got off to a dreadful start, but since May 28th, they came back to post the best record in the National League. Andy Bennis started the season 1-7, but came back to win 17 of his last 20.
He takes on Denny Nagel. Cardinals take on the Braves. This is game number 4 of the 1996 NLCS. Cardinals up 2-1. Stay tuned. Starting lineup, first pitch coming up right after this from your local Fox station, your home for the 1996 World Series. Electric Busch Stadium on a Sunday night. It is game 4 of the 1996 National League Championship Series. A look at Bobby Cox's Atlanta starting lineup. Marquise Grissom first up, then Mark Lemke. Chipper Jones hitting third, hitting .350 during the postseason. Fred McGriff has only 1 hit in this series, cleaning up. Then it's Ryan Klesko, Javier Lopez, Jermaine Dye batting 7th. Jeff Blauser hitting 8th, pitching batting 9th is Denny Nagel. The defense for the Cardinals, McGee gets the start in center field. Ray Langford, struggling in this series, has the bad shoulder, so it's McGee. And making his 2nd NLCS start as a Cardinal, it's Andy Bennis. He was the pitcher in Game 1.
In Game 1, he was featuring an overpowering fastball. He and John Smoltz both came out throwing gas in Game 1. It'll be interesting to see if Andy Bennis has that same kind of velocity on only 3 days rest.
He only threw 97 pitches his first outing. Tony La Russa, to give you an idea of how strong he is, said, I don't care if he threw 120, he'd be starting tonight.
Strike 1 on the first pitch to Grissom, underway in Game 4. Marquise in this series 5 out of 11, including a home run for the entire postseason, however, hitting only .231. To the right side, Gallego. High hop. 1 out. about the men in blue on a Sunday night in St. Louis? Behind home plate, it's Joe West. At first base, it's Jerry Crawford. Eddie Montague at second. Paul Runge at third, with Hirschbeck down the left field foul line and Bob Davidson down the right field foul line. I bet he can still call a balk from the right field foul line.
Balk and Bob.
Mark Lemke digs in, hitting .227 in the postseason, 3 out of 10 in this series. He made the final out in yesterday's game against Eckersley, a fly ball that flew 400 feet into center field. There's a strike from Andy Bennis. Andy Bennis took care of Grissom. Now working to Lemke with Chipper Jones to follow. A ball and a strike. Mark Lemke has played now in 27 games. This is number 28. More than any second baseman in LCS history. One of the many reasons why Bobby Cox calls Lemke his favorite. And that's saying something. High praise on a team like Atlanta. That is fouled, and strike 2 on Lemke.
Well, Lemke does so many things to make a manager like him. For example, that at bat to end the ball game yesterday facing Dennis Eckersley. Lemke's a very good student of the game, and he told his teammates, if we're going to beat Dennis Eckersley, we have to do it with the bats. He's not going to walk us. He's not going to put runners on base.
Guys, you may have noticed Mark Lemke almost wanting to scratch his left eye. He wears contacts. It looks like he's having problem with those. It started after the first pitch, and then he turned around to home plate umpire Joe West. He has problems with his contacts occasionally.
Trying to find a 2-2 pitch out of the hand of Andy Bennis. Staying alive. Chipper Jones waiting on deck. We talk about Andy Bennis pitching on 3 days rest. He's done that 5 times in his career for a mark of 2-2, but an ERA over 5. One out, nobody on. Lemke into left field, sending Gant back. 2 outs here in the first. When you talk to Tony La Russa, he'll tell you his edge in this series happened way back in the division series by sweeping San Diego. They sweep San Diego. They line up Andy Bennis, Todd Stottlemyre, Donovan Osborne. Either Bennis or Stottlemyre threw many pitches in the first 2 starts of this series, so they come right back, and they have their top 3 pitchers going throughout this series, while Atlanta today has to count on Denny Nagel, who hasn't made a start in 17 days.
That winning edge, you add 56,500 other edges here tonight.
This place is packed, and definitely an electric feeling here in St. Louis. In fact, guys like Gallego, who have been in the American League, saying this place yesterday was louder than Skydome in Toronto when it first opened, or the Metrodome in Minneapolis.
Right. Well, this place was louder today watching the end of the Yankees-Orioles game on the big screen than most ballparks are during a regular game. They were getting into that game.
Biggest crowd ever to watch a baseball game in the state of Missouri here yesterday, 56,769. 2 balls and a strike on Chipper Jones. McGriff, who has only 1 hit in this series, waiting on deck. We'll see him in the second inning. Andy Bennis has a 1-2-3 perfect first half. Cardinals come to bat. Bottom of inning number 1. You're watching Fox. There is no score.
He's been a big part of this series. Then McGee, then Ron Gant. No bigger part of the series than Ron Gant, who hit 2 home runs here yesterday. Brian Jordan cleaning up in right field, and Gary Gaetti. John Mabry at first, hitting 6th. Hitting 7th, it's Tom Pagnozzi, the catcher. Mike Gallego again in the lineup, playing second, batting 8th, and pitching and batting 9th. It's Andy Bennis. The defense for the Braves. Lemke at second base. You can count on Mark Lemke when the Braves are in October baseball. Just put his name down in pen at second base. He's back there and backing up Denny Nagel, who, as I mentioned, is making his first start in 17 days.
Tied with Al Leiter of the Florida Marlins as the winningest left-hander in the National League this year. And keep in mind, 14 of those 16 wins with the last place Pittsburgh Pirates.
You know, actually, when he came over to this Braves team, a lot of people around the National League were saying it's not fair. You know, the rich get richer, but Nagel really hasn't been the dominating force I think everybody thought he was going to be, although he is still a very effective pitcher.
Here's Clayton leading off against Nagel, who, while with Atlanta, has amassed a record of 2-3 and an ERA over 5.5. His first LCS start, and he starts with a strike. Nagel got a tune-up inning in Game 2 back in Atlanta, struck out 2, and I think that gave Bobby Cox maybe the little push he needed to go over the edge and name Nagel his starter for Game 4. A ball and a strike.
Well, there are some similarities between Denny Nagel and Tom Glavine, but Nagel will pitch inside more, and he will throw more high fastballs. You should see more fly balls with Denny Nagel on the mound than with Tom Glavine on the mound.
A ball and a strike on Clayton leading off. Pitch 2-1.
There's that inside pitch. Fastball away for a strike. Changeup he missed, and he tried to bust Clayton in on the hands.
You see Lopez sliding in there underneath Clayton's hands, just a little bit off the corner.
So a 2-1 count on Clayton leading off. McGee on deck. Now 3-1. Denny Nagel faced the Cardinals one time this season while with Pittsburgh. Lost to the Cardinals in lifetime 2-4 with an ERA over 5 against St. Louis. Clayton leading off. 3-1. Full count.
You mentioned the similarity between Tom Glavine and Denny Nagel, and they are similar, not only left-handers, but they throw the good changeup. But he works off his changeup to make his fastball better. The other three Atlanta starters, Glavine, Maddox, Smoltz, it's the other way around. They work off of their fastball to set up their breaking balls. So in that regard, he is different from the other three starters.
Battling Clayton here to start. Royce a leadoff base hit in yesterday's game, as he did in Game 2. Strikes out looking over the inside corner. Nagel caught the corner and rings up Clayton to start the bottom of the first.
Nagel nails the corner. Lopez right there. That pitch had a pretty good part of the plate, and Royce Clayton knew it.
So Clayton gone to start, and the batter will be McGee. Willie McGee making his first LCS start this year, competing in his 5th. And I think Tony La Russa finally, after yesterday's game, thought twice about putting Langford out there, who is a combined 0 for 11 and has only 1 hit in the postseason with a bad shoulder. Strike 2, a good fastball from Nagel.
And that shallow fly ball where Chipper Jones scored, he had a chance to show off that bad shoulder, and now the Atlanta Braves have seen it. That's another reason to go to McGee tonight.
Clayton struck out. Now McGee looks at the ball.
I think the situation with Langford was an either-or. If he could throw like he normally could, you could carry the 0 for 11 because the defense he gives you in center field. But because he cannot throw and he is not hitting, it's a good time to get Willie McGee in there and give him a start.
McGee checks on McGriff, a foul ball. The count stays 1-2. On top of that, Tony La Russa told us, depending on how McGee plays tonight, he will either be in or out of the lineup tomorrow, because McGee puts a ton of pressure on himself, and if he doesn't do well, it takes him a little while longer to regroup. Playing in his late 30s, back in St. Louis, and the sweetheart of so many fans here at Busch Stadium. A ball and 2 strikes. Nagel, tough play. Bad throw. Good play by McGriff. 2 out.
Oh, great play by Fred McGriff, who had to battle the runner and the in-between hop. Fred McGriff is such a powerful hitter. Often his defense is overlooked. Watch this play.
Actually used his hand and his glove almost as a basket to kind of trap that ball. Nagel really spikes this ball into the ground. You see Freddie staying right in front of it in good position there and finds a handle.
So the first two Cardinals are gone, and here is Ron Gant. Ron Gant, the first player ever in LCS history to hit 2 home runs in one game against his former team. He has hit 3 postseason home runs, hitting 3rd in front of Brian Jordan. Ball and a strike.
And Nagel started Ron Gant tonight with a big, slow breaking curveball. It's a pitch he likes to use on right-handed hitters who are aggressive. Guys like Ronnie Gant, first ball fastball hitters, just float that curveball up there for a get-ahead strike.
Good start for Denny Nagel. Struck out Clayton looking on a 3-2 pitch. McGee, the easy comebacker.
This will not be a fastball. Nagel shaking off Lopez. Fastball.
And a 3-1 count.
You talk about firing in the pillbox. A 2-1 count. Ron Gant looking fastball, and Nagel throws him an inside fastball. That is not good policy. You don't jam a hitter when you're behind in the count.
A 2-out walk. So while Nagel was cruising through the first 2, he hits a bump in the road named Gant. A walk, and now Jordan. And what Brian Jordan likes at the plate.
Ron Gant liking the ball inside, but Brian Jordan, with the exception of the ball down and in, likes the ball away, and he likes to extend his arms.
Jordan getting the reputation, Bob, of being a very good breaking ball hitter.
I was just thinking the same thing. That get-ahead curveball that he threw to Ron Gant would be a dangerous pitch to Brian Jordan. Right there it is. Got it up just a little bit for a called strike. But that's the pitch that's going to break down and into Jordan, and we saw in that hot zone he likes the ball down and in, and he is a good breaking ball hitter rather.
Most good breaking ball hitters are low ball hitters. Guys who like high fastballs are not good breaking ball hitters.
Check on Gant over at first, who during the regular season stole 13. Former 30-30 guy with the Braves. He got 130. He hit 30 home runs during the regular season. He's on for Jordan. One ball, one strike.
Jordan, the opposite of Ron Gant. You can come in on him. Coming in on Gant's dangerous, not Jordan.
Right down the middle, strike 2.
What set that pitch up was that inside fastball.
And he's working both corners of the plate. We mentioned he will pitch inside more than we saw Tom Glavine do last night. This is a fastball on the outside corner, but it was set up by the previous pitch.
Gant at first, 2 out. And a 2-2 count on Jordan.
You know, one thing the Cardinal hitters did last night, and that seemed to be doing again tonight, they're being patient. They're working the count, forcing the Braves starters to throw a lot of pitches. The more pitches you throw, the better chance you have of making a mistake.
Gant may do some running here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Does not go as Jordan pops it up. Shallow center for Grissom. A 2-out walk to Gant. Nagel gets around it after 1. Game 4. Cardinals up 2-1. There is no score. Inning, no score. Braves went in order in the first inning, and Fred McGriff will lead off. Fred only 1 hit in 10 at-bats. Try to get something cranked up here against Andy Bennis in the second inning.
I think the Braves need a good game from Fred McGriff. And watching him take batting practice today, loves the fastball, especially away. Off-speed pitchers are going to get anybody down and away. But what he was doing in batting practice was going through the middle 80% of his swings. That's what you have to do against Andy Bennis. And I think Fred McGriff's going to have a good game tonight.
Well, the Braves and Fred need it. call from Andy Bennis. You know, when you don't have McGriff doing anything offensively and David Justice is out of the lineup, bottom and top of the orders both struggling. Gaetti to his left. Good play, 1 out. This Atlanta lineup can definitely be pitched to. And the Cardinals have proven that already in this series.
And they handle McGriff here with a pitch low and away. He hits it off the end of the bat. A good approach trying to go the opposite way. But you can see Gary Gaetti shading that hole on the left side of the infield. Normally that would be a tough play if the third baseman is playing straight away. But he just moves a couple steps to his left and throws Freddie out on a routine play.
Now Ryan Klesko looks at ball one. Klesko did not start in yesterday's game. Had 1 at bat. He was inserted during the double switch, led off in the 9th inning and grounded out on 1 pitch against Honeycutt.
First changeup of the game by Bennis, and he throws the changeup in a fastball situation to a fastball hitter.
Tom Pagnozzi, Dave Duncan will tell you that's the difference in Andy Bennis between even now and the beginning of this season, but especially in years past when he's been with San Diego. Adding a change of pace, adding a breaking ball, a curveball. Barely missed the outside corner, and the count 3-1 now on Klesko. Dave Duncan has been with Tony La Russa since 1986. Hard to believe Klesko took that full count.
It's amazing to think that Ryan Klesko took a 3-1 fastball right down the heart of the plate, down low where he likes it. You can't believe he's up there guessing anything else other than fastball in that situation.
Now he guessed right, deep right field. Forget all about it, and the Braves take a 1-0 lead. That is Klesko's second of this postseason, 5th in his career.
I'll tell you why he took the 3-1 fastball. He was looking changeup. He gets it 3-2.
Boy, this was a violent collision of bat and ball here.
High changeup, by changeup.
And a 1-0 Atlanta lead in a game that they need to have. Braves scored first here yesterday with a first inning run driven in by Chipper Jones. Now Lopez takes a high delivery into right. Jordan there, 2 out.
Boy, was that ball crushed. That ball Klesko hit.
The noise it made coming off his bat, you could hear it clear up here in the press box without the aid of the microphones. I mean, that was just crushed. He never gets cheated, though. You got to give Ryan Klesko that. If he swings that bat, he is going to let it all go.
See, he got the 1-0 changeup from Bennis for a strike. Then he takes the 3-1 fastball. He finally gets the changeup, which, I mean, you know, common sense tells you he's probably looking for that pitch 3-1. He finally got it 3-2. That's the advantage of being ahead in the count. You can do that.
Jermaine Dye hitless in this series. A 1-ball, 1-strike count. He's been hitting that Adam ball, hitting it right at him.
Yeah, he's had more than his share of hang with him. So when you get back to the bench and your teammates say you to hang with them, you get tired of hearing that after a while.
2 out, nobody on, and a 2-1 count from Bennis.
It means right at him unless you're talking about Andy Bennis's younger brother, whose name is Adam, and he pitches in the Cardinal farm system.
As does Allen, who is out in the Cardinal bullpen. 2-2 on Dye. Two out, bases empty. Dye stays alive, 2-2.
Three-two changeup. Just leave your feet, Ryan.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Dye. Now a full count. Trying to reach to extend the inning for Blauser, who waits on deck.
bad news is Ryan Klesko hit a ball about 500 feet to right field, but the good news is nobody on base ahead of it. We said a couple days ago one of the keys for this Cardinal staff was to try to keep the ball in the ballpark. If you're going to give up a home run, at least it's a solo shot.
Up the middle, base hit, Jermaine Dye, and he finally breaks through with his first hit of the NLCS.
It's a weird game to figure out sometime, guys. Yesterday, Jermaine Dye took an over and hit 2 balls right on the button. He gets jammed with this slider. It looked like it backed up a little bit, and he fisted through the middle. He hit it pretty well, but not as well as he did those 2 balls for outs yesterday.
So Dye is on, 2 out. The batter will be Blauser, the number 8 hitter who has only 1 hit in this series. So you can talk all you want about McGriff and others, but if you get nothing out of the bottom of your lineup, coming in, Dye 0 for 11, Blauser 1 out of 12, and then the pitcher spot. It's tough to put anything together. This Atlanta team in this series hitting .220, and in the postseason only .201. Dye is running. Pagnozzi's throw is perfect, and the inning is over. Dye caught stealing. A run is on the board. It belongs to Atlanta. It belongs to Ryan Klesko. His second of the postseason, 1-0 Atlanta.
Razor. Anything closer could be too close for comfort. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher, because every athlete has the right to be quenched. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Well, there were 2 former catchers smiling when Pagnozzi gunned down Dye to end the inning.
Just a perfect throw from Pagnozzi. No crow hop, just a pivot on that right foot, closed up the shoulders, and made a great strong throw right in Jermaine Dye's face.
Pagnozzi will bat here in this second inning. Cardinals started with Gaetti. He looks at ball 1. It'll be Gaetti, then Mabry, then Pagnozzi if anybody gets on Gallego. Gaetti in this postseason has only 5 hits, but 2 monster home runs. A 3-run shot and a grand slam in Game 2 in Atlanta. Gaetti on 2-0. Hard hit to Chipper Jones. Plenty of time. 1 out.
Cardinals trailed yesterday 1-0, and Ron Gant's 2-run homer, and that was the end of that. But St. Louis has not been a good come-from-behind team at home. They have only come from behind 17 times this year at Busch Stadium, and that's the lowest total in the National League.
Bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Atlanta on the home run by Klesko. Strike 1 on Mabry. 300 hitter in each series, the division series against San Diego and here against Atlanta. Strike 2. Well, congratulations to the New York Yankees.
Thinking the same thing.
Back into the World Series for the first time since 1981 by defeating the Orioles 4-1, and today 6-4.
How about that Bernie Williams? Oh, my
man.
Goodness. What a showcase series he has had.
Mabry stays alive. We're thrilled to be bringing you the World Series on Fox this year. Every pitch of the 1996 World Series right here on Fox. We know the Yankees will be in. Will it be Atlanta or St. Louis? 1 out, nobody on. Mabry to the right side, off McGriff and into right. So whereas McGriff has made a couple of good plays early, that is one he'll tell you he should have had.
Well, Mabry fights off a high fastball on the inside part of the plate, and McGriff just seemed to misjudge the speed of that ball. He didn't really get over in front of it. He took a couple of shuffle steps and reached for it with that glove hand, but not able to come up with it.
You're right. You know, on the right side of the infield, one of the luxuries the second baseman and first baseman have, they can get in front of the ball, knock it down, and still have a play. Fred McGriff didn't get in front of the ball, kind of waved at it, and once it hit his glove, went into short right field for a hit.
They originally ruled it a hit. Now they're going to change it. Doesn't matter. 5-4-3. See you in the third. A ground out, then an error, then the double play. And after 2 here in St. Louis, 1-0 Atlanta.
Lead 1-0. Little spun sugar for that young man. He'll be up all night.
He's getting most of it in his mouth, though. That's an improvement over a lot of the kids at the ballpark. It ends up ear to ear and in their eyebrows and everywhere else.
Here's Blauser leading off, the number 8 hitter. Jeff, only 1 hit in this series and only 2 hits in the postseason. You wonder if this continues, if eventually we'll see what we talked about earlier and what happened during the regular season. That is Pendleton in at third and Chipper Jones shifting over to short.
Well, particularly if the Braves continue to struggle at the plate, they're really not getting any kind of continuous offense. They've really only had 1 inning where they bunched any kind of offense together, and that was in the 8th inning last night when they had 3 consecutive base hits to start the inning.
But it produced only 1 run, and the Braves fell a run short. David Justice, you know, we talked about this last inning. Now, last year it seemed a foregone conclusion that they would just let McGriff walk away, move Ryan Klesko into play first base, and use some of their kids in the outfield. Now they re-sign McGriff. Justice goes down in mid-May, and the Braves are struggling to get a consistent offense without his presence in the lineup. That'll get out of play for a full count on Blauser here in the third.
And you use the right word, presence in the lineup. A hitter like David Justice forces an opposing team to really think about him and look at that Braves lineup and see how it all fits together and where your best matchups are. And you definitely have to take David Justice into consideration if he's in that lineup. He can hurt you with 1 swing of the bat.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Blauser shoots 1 to right. Jordan there, 1 away. Well, John Smoltz is 7-1 in 15 postseason starts. Who better for Denny Nagel to go to for advice than John Smoltz? Here's what he told him.
Just to enjoy it. I know it's hard. It seems weird, but to go out there and enjoy it and have as much fun as you can, because this is where you want to be. I mean, he came from his organization, had a little bit of postseason experience. Now he's coming to a team that is going to count on him, and sometimes the pressure that people put on other people or you feel yourself is greater than what's out there.
Denny Nagel, 2 previous NLCS appearances in relief for Pittsburgh against Atlanta.
That was back in 1992. He gave up 4 earned runs to Atlanta in an inning and 2/3. That was the most famous, at the time, the most famous hit in Atlanta history. The Francisco Cabrera 2-run single to put the Braves in their 2nd consecutive World Series. They lost that one, but then they won it last year against Cleveland.
A ball and 2 strikes on Nagel. 1 out, nobody on. Now 2-2. In case you're wondering, for Andy Bennis, who is coming back on 3 days rest, Bennis right now is over the 40 pitch total. He's up to 42. We'll keep an eye on that as this evening unfolds. 2-2 to Nagel. Just missed. A full count. Blauser fly to right. Nagel stays at the plate. This is the 4th full count of the game for Andy Bennis.
Well, unlike the 2 pitchers in last night's game, Glavine and Osborne, who lost effectiveness after 90 pitches, Andy Bennis is a guy that usually gets beat early in the ball game. As the game goes on, the batting averages against him go down. So I guess after he gets through the first couple innings, you'd have to say that he's over the hump. But then pitching on 3 days rest may change those numbers that he was able to put up during the regular season.
The 3 days rest, there's the ERA over 5. And a record of 2-2, that's in his career. 3-2 to Nagel. Very good at bat by Denny Nagel, who had 12 hits during the regular season.
Well, anytime as a pitcher you can force your opposing number to throw this many pitches to get you out, you have had a good at bat.
Sure.
One double during the regular season for Nagel. 4 driven in. And he shoots one into right center field. McGee won't get to it. It's a 1-out hit for Nagel.
Makes it a better at bat when you can finish it off with a base hit.
A lot of hitters will tell you the more pitches they see during the course of the bat, the more confidence they get, the better they feel. Nagel takes a high outside fastball and hooks it back into right center field.
Bob, you brought up an interesting point that Dennis actually gets better as the game goes on. A lot of power pitchers that rely on keeping the ball down are too strong in the early innings and have a tendency to get it up. The ball to Klesko was up, and the ball to Denny Nagel were up.
Here's Grissom, and that's strike 1.
Sometimes fatigue to a strong pitcher is a good thing. And the reason for that, as his body tires, he ends up coming down in the strike zone a little more. And that could be a reason for Benes's effectiveness as the game goes on.
1 on, 1 out. Grissom pops it up. Gallego puts it away. 2 out here in the 3rd. Up in our Fox box, top left-hand corner of your screen. The Braves out in front 1-0 on Klesko's home run. The runner at first is Nagel. 2 out. The batter will be Mark Lemke, who flied to deep left his first time up.
Joe, I wanted to put a lid on our congratulations to the Yankees, beating the Orioles 4 out of 5, going to their first World Series since 1981. And Joe Torre, who managed the Cardinals last year, 4,284 games as a player and a manager, and finally in the World Series.
Couldn't happen to a better person.
Got that right.
He's done a great job with that Yankees team this year.
There's so much that's involved with that Yankee job, especially as manager, happens away from the dugout. And Joe Torre is the perfect guy to handle all the distractions that come with being the manager in New York. Tony La Russa, in his first year in the National League, guided his Cardinal team to an 88-74 record. They won the division by 6 games over the Astros. And he's trying to get back to the World Series. It's his 6th divisional title as a manager. 2-1 on Lemke. One on, 2 out, and a 3-1 count with Jones waiting on deck.
Good hitting count for Mark Lemke. Normally you think of a 3-1 count, a guy really looks for a pitch to hit out of the ballpark, but Lemke's not the kind of guy that's going to hit a lot of home runs, but he's still a very good fastball hitter, and like anybody else, he wants to work that count into his favor.
193 postseason appearances, no home runs.
Make it 194. The easy comebacker to Bennis. We are through 2.5. 54 pitches already for Andy. Braves out in front by 1. What a perfect guy to tell. Here's Denny Nagel and an interesting quirk he has about him.
When I was in Pittsburgh, the train would come out on the big screen in center field and get the team going in the bottom of the first inning when we come to bat, and it's kind of carried over here, and a lot of guys like me to do that, so I just kind of sit back and get one of these.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Hear that train a-coming.
Mike Gallego leads it off. Look for Denny Nagel in Police Academy 8. Replacing the guy who makes all those sounds. How in the world do you make your voice do that?
He makes myriad sounds. Where that voice is, I guess the best sound he likes to hear is the pop of a catcher's mitt or a whiff. Yeah.
0-1 to Gallego. Just a little high, a ball and a strike.
And that is eerie how much that sounds like exactly what he was talking about, the big screen at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. I'm sure the Pirates fans can recognize that sound.
Guy sticks his head out of the train. That sound comes, a little steam comes out. Denny Nagel was a big part of that Pittsburgh Pirate team, and I guess a big part of what happened to Jim Leyland. Talked about it the other night, that when it came down, that Denny Nagel was going to be traded. And then when he was eventually traded, that was it. Jim Leyland had enough in Pittsburgh. A high strike, and it's 2-2. Gallego trying to get on base ahead of Andy Bennis, who is on deck. Full count on Gallego.
Jim Leyland pursued not only by the Florida Marlins. He ultimately signed a 3-year deal there, but the Chicago White Sox, Boston Red Sox, and the White Sox signing Terry Bevington to a 2-year contract yesterday.
3-2 to Gallego. Struck him out to start the bottom of the third. Folks, remember, tomorrow it's Game 5 of the National League Championship Series when Marquise Grissom leads the Atlanta Braves against Ron Gant and the St. Louis Cardinals. The road to the World Series on Fox continues tomorrow, beginning at 7 Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And the winner of this series will move on to the 1996 World Series and take on the Yankees. That will unfold right here on Fox. Here's Andy Bennis, 1 out, nobody on, and strike 1 from Nagel. So far, so very good for Denny Nagel.
I would imagine Tony La Russa has mixed feelings about Andy Bennis getting on base. After that kamikaze head-first slide that he threw into third base the other night, and you heard Andy Bennis say earlier that if he ever does it again, he's going to be fine.
Well, after doing it the first time, Tim, Andy came up with a bad back.
Bad lower back. And that's another thing about his pitching. A lot of times when a pitcher has an aching lower back, he's up in the strike zone. He can't bend over to throw that low sinker like he normally can. Back's bothering him a little bit, says Gene Gieselman, the trainer.
Yeah, still 1-2 on Andy, who has 2 hits during the postseason. There's your buddy, Gino.
There's Gies.
He had his hands full yesterday.
Yeah.
All the foul balls into the stands.
Just missed. And a 2-2 count on Andy Bennis.
A very close pitch here. Just a tad off of that outside corner. Doesn't get the call.
2-2. Blew it right by him, and that's the second strikeout for Nagel. Let's see, Padres for breakfast, Braves for lunch. For dinner, we're having that Yankee bunch.
Very well coordinated. Well, it'll be the Atlanta Braves or the St. Louis Cardinals next Saturday at Yankee Stadium. The World Series beginning in the American League City this year. I guarantee you, New York City is hot tonight.
Here is Clayton. He struck out back in the first inning. As I mentioned, 2 strikeouts in the inning, 3 in the game for Nagel. And so far, no hits. That hit was originally put up for Mabry, was changed to an error. Nagel with 2 out, nobody on. 3rd inning, and a 1-1 count on Clayton.
Chipper Jones is in at third base. I think with 2 out and nobody on, it's a remote possibility that Clayton will bunt, but he's more likely to swing away. 2 out, nobody on. You don't want to bunt. You try more often than not for the extra base hit.
In Anthony's, strike 2.
Now, Clayton did have 9 bunt base hits on the season, which is not a really high amount for a leadoff hitter. Now, Chipper Jones backs up with 2 strikes, but I agree, Timmy, with 2 outs, he should try to drive that ball in the alley somewhere, get himself into scoring position with 1 swing of the bat.
Backed up at a ball and 2 strikes, and stays alive with a foul ball.
That's something that Clayton has worked very hard on throughout his career, trying to become a better bunter, take advantage of his speed, particularly if he is going to be the leadoff hitter for this Cardinals team.
Base is empty with 2 out behind Nagel. And a 2-2 count. I don't think Royce Clayton will be the leadoff hitter here for St. Louis in 1997 if the Cardinals have one objective. It is to get a second baseman type who can lead off and steal bases. Definitely a goal for Walt Jocketty during the offseason. Clayton strikes out, and Nagel strikes out the side in the third. He gets the start. He is rolling after 1-0 Atlanta.
The one thing about Denny Nagel that is impressive tonight, he is throwing hard, striking out both Gallego and Venice on fastballs and polishing off Royce Clayton on the straight change, which was set up by a high fastball earlier in the count. That was an impressive inning for Nagel, even though it was the bottom of the order in the leadoff batter.
You certainly can't quarrel with what John Smoltz did in Game 1. Maddox was very un-Cy Young-like in Game 2. Glavine struggled, had a long day, as Chipper Jones leads off with a base hit here in the 4th inning. But it's Denny Nagel making his first start in 17 days. The guy who was under 500 when since joining the Atlanta Braves, coming up with maybe the most impressive start to any game of this series so far.
To start.
Long way to go. Chipper Jones is on with a hit. The 4th hit of the evening for Atlanta. Here's Fred McGriff, who grounded out to third his first time up.
We talked about it earlier. The Atlanta Braves less inclined than the Cardinals to go play first and third type baseball. But that's what they're going to have to do if they're going to have multi-run innings.
Ball 1 to McGriff.
There is a huge advantage when you get your first runner on in the inning. When that happens, that runner, and it's Chipper Jones here, scores 54% of the time. That's in 1996.
Double play ball. That won't help. 4, 6, 3. And McGriff is really struggling.
Freddie's not even getting good swings. He had a couple of good hacks last night, as you see this double play from Gallego to Clayton, back to Mabry. You can tell when Freddie's swinging good when you see that high finish with the flourish, and he's just not getting the bat to the strike zone the way he did during the regular season.
So McGriff 1 out of 12 in this NLCS is Klesko, who has accounted for the only run so far. With a second inning 1-out home run, digs in. Two and 0.
He got a 3-2 changeup from Venice for the home run.
It's now 3-0 with Javi Lopez on deck.
Got to be swinging here, Denny.
I wouldn't want to be the manager that gives Ryan Klesko the red light on 3-0. I know that. He wants to let it fly.
Venice on 3-0. Walked him. And the first walk issued by Venice tonight. So a 2-out base runner for Atlanta, and that keeps the inning alive for Javi Lopez. Bobby Cox will tell you, along with Jermaine Dye, who is hit into tough luck, Javi Lopez is stinging the ball and is hitting .500 in this series.
Bobby telling us, and we all agreed with him, that Javier Lopez is hitting the ball better than any regular on either team. That includes Ron Gant. He's been the most consistently good swing in this series.
Klesko running. And he'll have to come back with strike 1 on Lopez. Don't be fooled by Ryan Klesko. Of course, he's on the move and Lopez is swinging, but there are times, guys, where he will pick his spots. He stole 6 bases during the regular season.
And 1 against the Dodgers in the division series.
Strike 1 on Lopez, who fouled the first pitch away. Missing the inside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike.
When you're hitting the ball as well as Lopez, you're seeing the ball so well, you take the ball just off the plate.
1-1 the count. 2 balls and a strike.
When the hitter is really seeing the ball well, they will even take strikes that are not the pitch that they want to hit. They may take a strike on the outside corner because they know if they get a pitch around the middle of the plate or in, they're going to drive it hard. They may get a breaking ball for a strike and not swing at it because it's not a pitch they want to hit.
Confidence has a lot to do with that, Bob.
Sure
How
does.
you're going at the time of the at-bat. 1 on, 2 out, and a check on Plesko, who may run with a count of 2-1. Cardinals at least give Plesko a look. But it's a battle between Venice and Lopez. Plesko stays put, and Lopez,
I don't believe it,
shoots one into the booth. That is 3 in this National League Championship.
That's 3. Now I'm 0 for 2, and I didn't have my mitt on. I had the thing sitting right here, and that ball went right here. I mean right here. That means right there, folks. Now I'm 0 for 2. Hang with them. I might be carrying this baby around for the rest of the series. Wow.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And a couple of heartbeats racing out of control up here in the booth.
Boy, that one came to eat, too. That ball got up here in a hurry.
It came to eat.
That's right. That was going to take a bite out of somebody.
Yeah, it was going to be me. We're going to have to change positions up here.
1 on, 2 out. Lopez jammed Gaetti. Lopez can run. Good play, Gaetti. Inning over. A hit, a double play, a walk, a ground out. 3.5 innings complete. 1-0 Atlanta.
Well, Brentley, what do you think?
I think that might be one of McCarver's passes there.
Oh, they couldn't wait to get those hats out of the closet.
Well, they support their Redbirds here in St. Louis. I'll tell you that. They all come dressed in red. They wear fright wigs. They put birds on their hats. They love their team.
And they love Willie McGee, who leads it off. 4th inning. Atlanta out in front. Leadoff base hit. And the first Cardinal hit of the night.
Willie McGee's style of hitting is probably the most unorthodox in either league. This ball he hits flat-footed, a changeup off the plate away, poked to right center. If you're raising a child, little league ball or anything, you do not go to Willie McGee and say hit like this, because Willie's the only guy who can hit like that.
That's right in McGee's wheelhouse.
Yeah,
Changeup up and away.
Well, throughout his career, he's taken some of the funniest looking swings, but somehow manages to get that ball out there where nobody can catch it.
Now Gantz. Ball 1. Ron Gant getting a response he didn't get during the entire regular season from the Cardinal crowd. The numbers in the NLCS, the reason why.
Inside hitter. Especially now. 2-0.
As Cardinals get a leadoff hit from McGee. 3-0 on Gant with Jordan to funnel. A high strike, 3-1.
Didn't look like he had the green light then.
Didn't look like he was taken all the way right there, at least from his body language.
That was a surprise to me. He takes the 3-0 fastball right down the pipe and swings at the 3-1 pitch out of the strike zone. That was ball 4.
This is the high fastball we talked about, Nagel, that differentiates him from Tom Glavine. He will go up the ladder and get those right-handed hitters to chase.
Check on McGee, who stole 5 bases during the regular season.
That was almost a balk. That looked like an American League left-handed pitcher's pickoff move. Once you come that far home, you're committed to go home. Very, very close.
McGee at first, full count on Gant, and he wants time. Nagel upset. The time was granted, but it was granted well before Nagel looked back toward home. His eyes were on McGee at first.
And with the crowd noise here at Busch Stadium, he did not hear Joe West call the timeout.
Runner going on ball 4. With runners in scoring position, hitting .422 during the regular season. Ryan Jordan, 3 hits in this series, digs in. Jordan. Nagel in 4th inning, trouble trying to protect a 1-0 Atlanta lead. High pitch, and he got away with it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just high enough out of the strike zone. We talk about going up the ladder, get ahead of the batter. In this case, he's not ahead, but you throw that fastball just a little bit higher than the hitter can handle. You can see up around the letters there. If that ball's down another inch or 2, it's right in Brian George's wheelhouse.
That high fastball was swingable, but not hittable.
1 ball, 1 strike.
High fastballs to a hitter is from about mid-thigh to the belly button. Those are high fastballs that are hittable. Anything above that, usually pop it up, foul it back, swing through it.
Nagel not happy with the sign Javi Lopez called, and with the runner at second base, Lopez is forced to go through a series of signs. Now Nagel calls Lopez out to make sure they're on the same page as far as what signals we're going to use with that runner out there at second base. A lot of times if a pitcher shakes off a sign with the runner at second base, you immediately go to the first sign with the next set of signals, so you don't sit back there and confuse your own team.
Talk about that high fastball to a hitter is from this area to this area. Anything above that is not hittable.
2-1 on Jordan. 3-1. Gaetti next. Another high pitch and a full count on Jordan.
Yeah, but see, that was in that hittable zone. The first one was too high. That one right around the belly button, right around the belt buckle.
Wow. Boy, he got a good rip at that one. We mentioned earlier, Jordan likes to get extended. Gets those arms out there in front of the plate. Powerful swing.
I think he's sending the runners right here.
Great speed on the bases. Get him in motion.
Yep. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Jordan. They go. Jordan pops it up. Long run for Klesko or Blauser. Neither can get there. What an effort by Blauser. He ends up in the first row. Klesko couldn't get there. Blauser went a long way and ends up in somebody's lap.
Jeff Porter, the assistant trainer, out to see if he's all right. Watch Blauser first and then Klesko. Klesko coming into your picture. Fortunately, Jeff had a chance to brace himself before he tumbles into the first row.
Klesko able to slide to protect himself as he got closer to the wall, but Blauser, as you mentioned, just did brace himself enough to flip over the railing and avoid injury.
Do it again. Runners were going on that last 3-2 pitch. Already up to 62 pitches. Runners go. Jordan pops it foul, and it'll get out of play again.
You know, this would be a good time for the Atlanta Braves if they have a trick pickoff play at second base to attempt a pickoff of Willie McGee. Throughout his career, he has been known to make some base running blunders, and we've already seen him start the runners twice. Perhaps they could catch Willie being a little over-aggressive out there.
Mark Lemke was close to second base before that last pitch.
3-2 on Jordan. Now Nagel does spin, but no one was waiting at second base.
Thinking right along with you, Bob.
Willie was leaning a little bit, but Lemke had broken back to his position.
Runners go, and again Jordan pops it up. This one is playable. Chipper Jones saves the out. Chipper looked at Javi. Javi looked at Chipper. And Jones ends up making the play.
And I'll tell you, Denny Nagel is pointing in the dugout, pointing to himself right after that, saying it's my fault. The reason is Nagel calls Chipper Jones and then goes to ward off Javier Lopez. That way, you don't have a near collision and a near drop ball. And Nagel was pointing to himself, saying, my fault, I should have controlled that play. The Dodgers were the first organization to teach that. You hold one guy and call the other guy. That way, there's no confusion with the noise. That's the pitcher's responsibility.
And a huge out for Nagel. Reaching for the pitch. Now Gaetti in the hole, 1-2. McGee led off the inning with a hit. The only Cardinal hit, then a walk to Gant, who has walked twice in his 2 at-bats tonight.
Saw Gary Gaetti yesterday against Tommy Glavine poke one to right field. Jermaine Dye, the right fielder, looking for an outside changeup or fastball. He's over toward the line, toward the right field line.
2 out. Gaetti comes up empty, and that is 5 strikeouts for Nagel.
Well, the Cardinals have had some good pitches to hit this inning. A nice fastball out over the plate, a pitch that Gaetti normally hits to the big part of the field, either the gap in right center or the gap in left center. This time swings right through it.
So Nagel takes care of Jordan on a 3-2 pitch with 2 on and nobody out. Takes care of Gaetti by striking him out, and now works to the left-hander Mabry, strike 1. Little wide, 1 ball, 1 strike.
With 2 outs and a runner on at second base, the infield plays about a step or two deeper than they would normally play. And the reason for that, if they can't catch the ball, they try to knock it down. And Lemke
watches the fly ball to left. Denny Nagel gets into and out of trouble in the fourth. A long fourth inning. Great pitching by Nagel. After 4 in St. Louis, Braves lead by 1. We get into the 5th inning here in St. Louis. 1-0 Atlanta out in front. Tuesday, the original family of aliens from
Stadium. Oh.
Perfect. David Cohn's got to be considered to be the starter for the Yankees next Saturday against either the Cardinals or the Braves.
It was Andy Pettit who got the win today.
Could be Pettit.
Pettit having what many consider the Cy Young year in the American League. Jermaine Dye leading it off, bottom 3 for the Braves here in the 5th inning. They lead by 1 on the Klesko home run. 1-1 to Dye. Strike 2. Jermaine Dye finally broke through his first at bat in the 2nd inning. Got his first hit of the series, but then ended the inning. See the dirt on his chest? He was caught stealing by Pagnozzi. Venice has not struck anyone out. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's still keeping that ball down in the strike zone. We talked about the bad lower back. Something to keep an eye on. But at least to this point, he's still able to extend and keep that ball down in the zone.
Like that. Ground ball to short. Try to pull that pitch low and away, and that usually happens. Die out, 6-3.
Shortstop, Jeff Blauser.
One away here in the 5th inning for the number 8 hitter Blauser. 1 out of 13 against Cardinal pitching. Braves have 4 hits. The Cardinals have only 1.
Well, we saw Jeff Blauser's effort on the pop foul down the 3rd baseline. When you're in a slump and you have an opportunity to do something above and beyond the call of duty defensively, you're going to give it everything you have. Because right now, Jeff Blauser probably feels like he hasn't contributed much to the Braves, and he certainly hasn't offensively, but anything he could do defensively is certainly going to help.
I'm sure somewhere in the back of his mind, he's got to be fighting to stay in that lineup. Terry Pendleton in the foreground there. Could see him make a start in the near future at 3rd. Strike 2 on Blauser. Blauser missed most of the 2nd half of the season with a broken left hand. So in fairness to Jeff, he's still trying to battle his way back and feel comfortable at the plate. There is his 2nd hit of the series, a 1-out knock here in the 5th inning.
And his 2nd hit off Andy Venice after being 0 for his last 36. He's 2 for his last 4. This is a hanging slider. This is really only the 2nd bad pitch that Venice has made in the ball game. The first one, the 3-2 high changeup to Klesko, and then that slider was just a spinner. There was no bite on it.
So Blauser on, and that allows Nagel a chance to bunt. Did single his first time up. And the bunt is foul for strike 1.
Then he squared around too early. You don't want to give the 2nd baseman and the 1st baseman a better chance to charge and get closer to you than you'd normally be.
Unless they're planning on putting on one of those butcher boy plays where he's going to pull the bat back and swing away, that would be the only time you'd want to tip it this early.
Matter of fact, Venice would be a good pitcher against whom to do something like that because he throws a lot of low sinkers and you get the high chopper.
0-1. He squares early and he bunts. A good bunt this time. And the sacrifice good. 3-4. Denny Nagel, one of the most sought after pitchers this season. A lot of teams were interested in getting Nagel from Pittsburgh. Cleveland Indians were one of those teams. They didn't get him. Atlanta got him, trading 2 prospects Corey Pointer and Ron Wright to the Pirates to get him. And now here's Nagel in game 4 in a game the Braves desperately need to win, down 2-1, and he's pitching extremely well. Here's Grissom with an extra run down at second base, 2 out here in the 5th inning. Grissom 0 for 2. Right back at us. Marquise Grissom, outfield hits by direction. Had a great regular season. Very evenly spread out in the outfield for Grissom, who had 200 hits during 1996. Blauser the runner at second, 2 out, and that is strike 2 on Grissom here in the 5th. We showed you the outfield hits by direction, Tim, and those are the spray charts that Tony La Russa and/or Bobby Cox will use during the game.
They see the starter for the next night keeping that chart occasionally. It would be Todd Stottlemyre this evening, because he'll be the starting pitcher tomorrow night against the Braves, and John Smoltz.
Dave Duncan sitting in front of those spray charts. 0-2 to Grissom. It'll stay that way.
Yeah, those are charts that have been completed. The guys who make those charts are the pitchers before the next night. Gives you an idea about Grissom. Talked about the 64 hits the other way. The guy who led the National League in opposite field hits, Mike Piazza.
And some of them went a long way to the opposite field.
That's right.
0-2 to Grissom. Back to Venice. Good play. Inning over. A 1-out hit by Blauser. We head to the bottom of the 5th, halfway through it. Game 4. Braves out in front by 1. Bottom of the 5th inning. Pagnazzi, Gallego, Benes, bottom 3 in the Cardinal lineup coming up. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without express written consent. Our stamp is now on Game 4, the 1996 NLCS.
All right.
Halfway through it, bottom of the 5th inning, Pagnazzi first up, bounced into a double play his first time. And takes a strike from Nagel. Only 2 hits in this NLCS and 5 in the entire postseason for Pagnazzi. Had by far his best offensive season during the regular year, hitting .270 with 13 home runs, by far a career high. 55 RBIs. Contract year for Pagnazzi. Free agent at the end of this postseason. Struck him out on a pitch low and away, and that's 6 strikeouts for Nagel.
Fastball, fastball, change out of the strike zone. Pagnazzi waves. Tell you, hitters refer to this swing as walking the dog. As you can see, that invisible leash right there when a guy reaches and misses. Walking the dog.
1 out, nobody on for Gallego. That's strike 1.
You don't like to walk the dog too often.
You do. You will not be in the majors long if you walk too many dogs.
La Russa doesn't like to hear that. His family can't come to St. Louis because of all the animals and pets they have back at home.
That's right.
Nobody would watch them all. So his family watching back in Oakland. Gallego grounds out to second. 2 out here in the 5th inning.
Tony's wife, Elaine, has 2 children, 2 girls, 17 and 14, Bianca and Devin. And they were at ballet practice yesterday. That's why they couldn't come to St. Louis over the weekend. Matter of fact, Tony telling me yesterday, his daughters are so into ballet that he built a room for them to plie in the ballet over his garage.
Strike one on Andy Bennett. You just said plie.
Plie in the ballet.
2 out, nobody on. The 0-1 to Andy Bennis. Did you know that word, plie, Brentley?
I don't think so.
Don't ask me to spell it.
Ground ball to Lemke, a 1-2-3 inning for Nagel. He is in command after 5 in St. Louis. Wake up, Denny. 1-0 Atlanta.
Got some culture up here. Plie. I don't know how to spell it, but that's a plie. Come on. You guys.
Andy Bennis back to work the 6th inning as Lemke leads it off.
Well, I plie all the time then when I get up out of this chair, you know. Some things get stuck in place after you sit too long.
Each team has turned a double plie here this evening.
Oh, man, I love it.
Plie, stop it. 2-0 the count on Lemke. Chipper Jones and Fred McGriff will follow. Cannot quarrel with Andy Bennis so far. He's made that mistake to Klesko, who knew what to do with that mistake. The home run into deep right back in the 2nd inning. The only run on the board so far. Now 3-1 on Lemke.
Well, of all the great pitching matchups we've had so far in this series, the one you figure would not be a 1-0 game in the 6th inning would be this one. Andy Bennis on 3 days rest. Denny Nagel hasn't pitched since September 26th, but they're both throwing an outstanding game to this point.
3 balls and a strike on Lemke. Full count. Braves would love to get Lemke on with Chipper Jones on deck. Then they hope for McGriff to bust out of this slump. There's Freddie. All eyes in Atlanta on McGriff, wondering when he will get dialed back in. 3-2 to Lemke. That is hit a long way to right. Is it his first in postseason? Yep. 2-0 Atlanta. 195 at bats later, and Lemke goes deep, and the Braves have a 2-0 6th inning lead.
We saw Lemke end the ballgame last night with a drive 400 feet to straightaway center field here at Busch Stadium against Dennis Eckersley. On the 3-2 count, got a high fastball, middle in, and showed he does have some pop in that bat.
He dialed it up a notch. That first 3-2 pitch, he fouled off to the left. That pitch was not only up, Bob, but in the middle to inside part of the plate, allowing Lemke to turn on what he knew was going to be a fastball. Predictable fastball because Bennis didn't want to walk him to open the inning.
So Bennis has given up the 2 home runs. Dave Duncan pays a visit to the mound as the Braves try to even this series at 2 games apiece. A long way to go here tonight. Top of the 6th inning, 2-0 Atlanta. Nobody on or out. The batter is Chipper Jones. Jones is single, grounded out. T.J. Matthews, a right-hander. Tony Fossis, the lefty, getting ready for St. Louis in their bullpen. A 1-ball, 1-strike count on Jones. Little up and away, 2-1. With McGriff on deck.
Well, you can see Bennis struggling a little bit now with his delivery. He's been very smooth, consistently around the strike zone up to this point. You can see his follow through. He's coming apart a little bit at the end of his delivery.
Talk about a hitter with a closed shoulder all the time. Well, throwing is the same as hitting. pitchers have to lead with a closed shoulder, too. That's what Bob was talking about. He's flying open.
Jones shoots one to deep right center field. It is gone to make it 3-0. I believe now they say no. It hit the top of the wall and came back, and we're going to have an argument. Bobby Cox will come out and argue. The Braves bench thinks it was gone. That's Eddie Montague. It looked like that ball hit back up in the shrubbery, the flowers, and then came back out.
And the reason it looked like that, Joe, I think was because of the carom. Had it hit the wall, it would have caromed back into right center field a long way. Because it didn't come out a long way, in my judgment, it hit in the flower bed.
You can hear Bob Davidson saying it hit the yellow line and it came back. I am anxious to see this replay.
It may have hit the corner of the yellow line. Good call.
Very good call.
Good call.
Right off the yellow line, and it came back. There have been home runs in this ballpark that have hit up in that flower area and come back. Either hit up in the flower area, hit a fan and come back, or just done it. Chipper Jones a smile. And why not? The Braves lead 2-0. Andy Benes has been KO'd here in the 6th inning. A home run and a near home run off the very top of the wall for a double for Chipper Jones. Benes finish. Braves out in front by 2. Center field.
Well, with all the controversial plays at and near the outfield wall in this postseason, Major League Baseball may have to put an umpire in center field as well.
Yeah.
Boink. That would have been a John Madden boink then.
Bench thought it was gone.
Just a second, guys.
You can see John Schuerholz in the background. The white shirt, everybody thinking it was gone, but it hit, popped up, came back. And it's a double for Chipper Jones. Now Fred McGriff facing Tony Fossis. Well, this is the last guy McGriff wanted to face in a slump. He faces Fossis.
So if that's the case, with Tony Fossis being as tough on left-handed hitters, why wouldn't you bunt a guy who doesn't normally bunt? With the way McGriff is going and the way Fossis is going.
1 ball, 1 strike.
It would certainly be a reasonable alternative. Lefty against a tough left-handed hitter.
I think perhaps if Ryan Klesko, another lefty, wasn't on deck, they may consider that. If Javi Lopez was following Fred McGriff, they may choose to move him up to third base with only 1 out in the inning. But another lefty on deck will be just as tough against Tony Fossis.
1 ball, 1 strike. 2-1. 3 out of 21 career against Tony Fossis.
I mean, Bobby Cox bunted with Chipper Jones the other night after only 1 during the regular season.
Clayton in behind the runner Jones, so Fossis steps off. 2 balls and a strike here in the 6th inning. 1 run home on the leadoff home run by Lemke. His first ever in the postseason. The double by Jones that nearly left. And the 2-1 to McGriff. 2-2. McGriff has already faced Fossis in this postseason. That came in game 1. McGriff popped up to short.
That was after a 3-0 slider and a 3-run 1 slider. But if he does go to 3-2, you can look for the slider. Fossis very difficult on left-handed batters, especially when he drops down.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and a full count on McGriff. Fossis likely in there for not only McGriff, then Klesko. T.J. Matthews still loosening out of the Cardinal bullpen with an eye on Javier Lopez, who hits behind Klesko. (3-2) to McGriff. Just missed the walk, and the first 3 have reached here in the 6th inning for Atlanta.
Okay, if you wouldn't bunt Fred McGriff because of Ryan Klesko, would you bunt Ryan Klesko with Javier Lopez on deck?
Absolutely. Now I would.
All right. I was trying to be persistent with you. He did. Klesko did go to Jimmy Williams, the third base coach, to talk over strategy. This was his first time up tonight. A 3-2 changeup to put Atlanta on the board.
Second inning, and one of a couple mistakes out of the hand of Andy Bennis.
Klesko, by the way, had 5 sacrifices during the season.
See the numbers, hitting 100 career against Fosse. He is bunting, and he takes ball 1. Jimmy Williams through the signs. A homer, a double, a pitching change, a walk.
Hey, Joe, it looks like the Cardinals are playing it straight up. There's no rotation or wheel play.
Strike 1.
One of the things, in order to put the wheel play on, that's when the third baseman charges, the first baseman charges, the second baseman goes to first, the shortstop to third. In order to put that play on, you have to be sure that the batter is bunting. Tony La Russa can't be sure with Klesko, even though he's shown bunt twice.
One and one. Now he's swinging, and he takes ball 2.
Now, most teams have a variety of bunt defenses they use depending on who's on base, who's the batter at home plate, what the game situation is. It's conceivable with McGriff at first base that they could charge both corners,
right?
Have the second baseman cover first, Clayton cover second, and try to get the double play up the middle.
Double play ball. Gallego to Clayton on to Mabry.
So Ryan Klesko fails to bunt him over, and the slider from Fosse. Nasty pitch. Easy double play.
Gallego and Clayton, no problems turning that. Taylor made off the bat of Klesko. So he's homered, walked, and now grounded into a double play. They did not have him bunting. After the first 2 pitches, now the intentional walk will be handed to Javier Lopez. And that'll set up first and third, 2 out for Jermaine Dye. And I would be surprised if Fosse stays in to face Dye.
We're going to try to show you not only the pitch sequences to Ryan Klesko, but why Tony Fosse is so hard to hit as a left-handed batter. When he drops down, the inclination is for that hip and rear end to pull out of there. Hitters call it bailing out. So he's bunting on the first 2, takes a ball, fastball for a strike, slider, another slider off the end of the bat for the double play. Now he walks Lopez, and that's going to be all for Tony Fosse.
So a couple of walks, but a big double play ball in between them. Off the bat of Klesko. Runners at first and third, 2 out. Braves lead by 2. The Cards go to Matthews.
First and third, 2 out for the Braves. They try to add to their lead. Tomorrow it's Game 5 of the National League Championship Series when Grissom and the Braves take on Ron Gant and the Cardinals. What a good series this has turned out to be. The road to the World Series on Fox continues tomorrow, beginning at 7 Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. There is no doubt that the Braves are getting all they can handle and more from the Cardinals.
Got that right.
After Atlanta rolled right through the Dodgers. Cardinals have won 2 of the first 3 games. In fact, the Braves, during this 5-year run to the NLCS, find themselves down 2-1 for the first time since their run began in '91. First and third, 2 out. It's Jermaine Dye. 1 hit tonight, 1 hit in the series, facing T.J. Matthews. Casas did his job for the most part. And now Matthews.
That's right, Joe, what you were just saying. Because in 1993, the Braves lost the first game, then won games 2 and 3, and then the Philadelphia Phillies won the last 3 games, beating Atlanta in 6 to win the National League pennant.
Runners at the corners, 2 out here in the 6th inning. In fact, if Braves fans woke up this morning with a frown on their face and didn't know why, it was on this date 3 years ago that the Braves lost 4 games to 2 to the Phillies by losing game 6 at the Vet. 1-1 pitch up the middle, base hit. RBI for Jermaine Dye, and it's 3-0 Atlanta. They walk Lopez to get to the rookie, and Jermaine Dye burns the Cardinals.
Well, the Webster Dictionary definition of Jermaine is this: being at once relevant and appropriate or fitting. And is this ever relevant and appropriate to drive in the 3rd run of the ball game?
You looked that up before the Dodgers series, and you finally get a chance to use it. So T.J. Matthews, something happened on that pitch. Outside of a bruised ego, he is bent over and something's wrong.
Possibly reaching for the ball back up the middle.
So the Cardinals are going to have to go back to their bullpen. They're going to call on Alan Bennis after T.J. Matthews comes up lame.
Could have been that right there, standing for the ball, thinking he had a chance. Looks like a groin pull, possibly.
We'll get word, pass it on. It's now Alan Bennis into the game for St. Louis.
To the back row. Super sluggers.
Matthews, while Alan Bennis takes his warm-up tosses, our Aflac trivia question: who was the last Braves pitcher, other than Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, or Steve Avery, to start a postseason game?
Denny Nagel.
Prior to tonight.
See, I tried to get it in there quick. Went for the easy answer.
Well, the interesting thing about Matthews, if it is an injury that would cause him possibly to go on the disabled list, it looks like the upper right quad to me, or the groin area, as Alan Bennis is in. His brother Andy started, Alan in now. But if Matthews is deemed injured enough to go on the disabled list, the Cardinals cannot replace him during the National League Championship Series, but can replace a pitcher on the roster between the NLCS and the World Series if they beat Atlanta in 7.
So Andy Bennis, who got his work in during 5+ innings, allowing 3 runs on 7 hits, a walk, no strikeouts, and 2 home runs along the way. Some of the most interesting shots at Busch Stadium this year, camera-wise, are of Andy Bennis sweating through an Alan Bennis outing. Andy Bennis will watch his younger brother make his first LCS appearance.
Well, there are those close to the ball club who say the fact that Alan Bennis is on the staff this year and got off to such a great start helped push Andy Bennis.
Early on in the year, Alan Bennis got off to a great start. Andy Bennis, of course, as we talked about, started out 1-7. Then there was a period of time where they kind of switched roles. Allen struggled, and Andy just took off.
And because there was an injury to T.J. Matthews, Bennis was not up throwing in the bullpen, so he will be given all the time he wants until he's ready. But speaking of an injury, during a National League Championship Series, the most famous Cardinal injury to a player, Vince Coleman, 11 years ago today, when he had the tarp accident here at Busch Stadium. And sure enough, the Cardinals had to play that series against the Dodgers with only 24 players on the roster instead of 25.
So Alan Bennis is getting ready to go. We're going to answer our Aflac trivia question. I didn't hear any. How about Balecki? You don't have to go back to 82, do you? You don't have to go back to Negro or any of those guys. I don't know.
I am officially
Or you
stumped.
might.
Charlie
Lee Brandt.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
gosh, we should have gotten that, guys. You were there.
Well, we had other things to think about. We're talking about T.J. Matthews and maybe being hurt, and Vince Coleman and all that. We got a lot to handle up here. Aflac and all these things. Plie.
2 on, 2 out here in the 6th inning. Charlie Lee Brandt. Here's Jeff Blauser. Javier Lopez drew the intentional walk in this inning, and it did not work as Jermaine Dye, a sharp single up the middle to make it 3-0 Atlanta. Now Blauser 2 on, 2 out. Ball 1 from Alan Bennis. This is the first time in NLCS history that 2 brothers have appeared in the same game, 2 pitchers. 1969, Game 2 of the NLCS. Both Henry and Tommy Aaron played for the Braves against the Mets. But it's Andy and Alan Bennis, and it's Alan Bennis in trouble. 2 on, 2 out, and a 2-0 count.
Throwing as hard as his brother, 92 miles an hour. Before league championship play, or before divisional play, 2 brothers played against one another in the 1964 World Series. They were third baseman, Cletus Boyer for the Yankees, Kenny Boyer for the Cardinals.
2 on, 2 out, a 2-1 count on Blauser. Good fastball, 2-2.
That was nasty. Oh, that good heater must run in the family.
Tim, you talked about it earlier. They have a younger brother, Adam Bennis, who pitches in the Cardinal farm system. Allen, former #1 pick. 2 on, 2 out. 2-2 the pitch. Got it. Went right after Blauser. High heat, inning over. Andy starts the inning. Allen finishes it. Braves get 2, lead by 3.
The 6th inning here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals have only 1 hit. Alan Bennis got out of the inning, got a pat in the back of the head from big brother Andy, and now they'll just go sit together.
I bet he smacked him in the back of the head harder than that when they were growing up.
You can bet.
They must have had some great wiffle ball games in the backyard.
Royce Clayton will lead it off, top of the order for the Cardinals here in the 6th inning. Outfield hits by direction for Clayton. He goes the other way. He's done that consistently in this series. Denny Nagel back to work. It's been over a half hour since he was last on the mound. The bunt in the air. Chipper Jones the catch, 1 away.
We talked about it earlier when there were 2 out and nobody on, that it would not be a good play to bunt. Chipper Jones was in with nobody out to lead off the inning. Clayton tries to bunt, and Jones makes a fine play. And Bob, you had talked about how Royce Clayton had been working on his bunting since coming to St. Louis.
That's something he's made a very serious effort since his days with the San Francisco Giants, to try to take advantage of his speed, and not able to get the ball on the ground this time.
So Clayton the first out in the 6th inning. The batter is McGee. You know, when you talk about Denny Nagel and what he was able to do this season with Pittsburgh, at the time of his August 28th trade, the Pirates were 66-75. Nagel was 14-6 on that team that won only 66 games to that point in the season. Line drive right at Lemke, 2 out here in the 6th inning. Brings to mind, Tim, the season that Steve Carlton had in 1972. Arguably one of the greatest single seasons of any pitcher in baseball history. The Phillies in 72 were 59-97. Carlton that year was 27-10. A winning percentage of .730 on a team that had a winning percentage of .378.
He won 43% of his team's games.
Here's Gant, 2 out, nobody on, 6th inning. That could lead us to a football promo.
It could.
It's out in right center field.
That's a big football, too.
By the way, Tim, you are right on T.J. Matthews, a pulled right groin.
That's a big football there.
Kick it. Go ahead, punt it.
Marquise and now Jermaine Daddy look like they're about 2 feet tall carrying that football.
Have you ever noticed how football players, coaches, people connected with the game forever continue to identify the players, the game, the field? He's a good football player. We're on a football field. You got to run the football.
It's a great
you got to throw the
play.
football. It's a great football play. Constantly identifying the object, the sport, the field, the player.
I got to be honest.
What?
No, I've never, ever.
And you do football games.
I try. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gant. Clayton popped out trying to punt. McGee lined out. Denny Nagel. A 1-1 count on Gant. He's walked him twice. Gant couldn't hold up. Strike 2.
That was a good changeup from Nagel. Right where he wanted it. Outside corner.
Talked about Cleveland pursuing Denny Nagel during the regular season. Maybe one of the reasons why they did not advance. Had a tough time with the Orioles lineup. Gant pops it into right. The Cardinals go in order in the 6th. Braves out in front 3-zip. We'll be back to Busch Stadium after this from your local Fox station. Nothing Atlanta through 6. Alan Bennis will start his first inning and deal with Denny Nagel, the pitcher. Not only has pitched well, but has a hit and a sacrifice. Now a test for Gaetti. Good play, 1 out.
The toughest play for a third baseman is a ball hit off the bat of a left-hander, particularly when you're playing in front of the bag, as Gary Gaetti was. This ball has a very unusual spin coming off the bat. He just tries to get over and smother the ball. Makes a great play.
Gold Glove winner in the American League in years past, and a guy who this season committed only 10 errors at third base. Had a streak of over 60 errorless games. 4 times he won the Gold Glove Award, all in the American League. 1 out here in the 7th inning for Atlanta. Grissom at the plate, 0 for 3. 6 out of 29 in the postseason. Ball 1. One out, nobody on. Tough play for Clayton. Has to hurry. Good play. 2 out. And the base is empty for hard-hitting Mark Lemke. Tuesday, the original family of aliens from outer space is landing on Fox.
Saying that family has a high strike zone, are you?
Oh, man.
Ball 1 on Lemke.
Tough to find helmets for those guys.
2 out, nobody on. Lemke, a ball and a strike.
And helmets for those guys at Baskin Robbins.
I think they must be related to the Coneheads somehow.
No, and one of them's getting
close.
kissed.
They're close. Oh, baby.
2-1 on Lemke. Homered his last time up. There's Danny Jackson. He has not appeared in this LCS. Got Alan Bennis on the mound now. Danny Jackson in the bullpen. If Tony La Russa wanted to go to a 4th starter, it would be one of these two, either Alan Bennis or Danny Jackson. Maybe a bit of an audition here for Alan Bennis for either later on in this series or if the Cardinals advance for the World Series. Had a very strong rookie year. 13 wins for the young right-hander. 3-2 to Lemke. Mark Lemke had gone 195 at-bats without a home run in the postseason until a 3-2 pitch in the 6th inning.
And even though he hit that home run his last at-bat on a 3-2 pitch, he still really hasn't earned the respect because Alan Bennis came right back with a 3-2 fastball, middle in.
Again, and Lemke pops it into center. McGee is there. The Braves go in order in the 7th. Time to stretch. This is game 4. Cardinals out in front 2-1, but trail 3-zip. And Bob Brenly, this is Joe Buck. We get into the bottom of the 7th inning. The game summary. Home runs by Klesko and Lemke. Dye and RBI. Andy Bennis out battled by Denny Nagel.
This is the first time, Joe, since the 1st inning that the crowd has started to stir. They realize the Cardinals could be 9 outs away from tying this series.
Ball 1 on Jordan. Jordan had a golden opportunity his last time up. Runners at first and second, nobody out, a 3-2 pitch. And he popped up. Into left field. Didn't get all of it. Klesko going to get it. Nice running catch by Klesko down the line. 1 out here in the 7th inning.
Klesko not sure exactly where the wall is here. He knows he's getting close. He's trying to feel for that dirt. Now he knows he's on the track. He's getting close. You can see he puts his hands up to catch himself a few feet before he gets to the wall.
Ryan Klesko has really improved his defense out in left field to the point where now it's not a given in a tight game with the Braves out in front that he's replaced by someone from the bench for defensive reasons. Here's Gaetti.
It's really to Ryan's credit that he has made such an effort to improve himself defensively, too. He's a much more complete player now.
Right over our heads for strike 1. McMichael getting ready for the Braves in their bullpen. For the Atlanta dugout, Bobby Cox, Leo Mazzoni have to be thrilled with what they've had from Denny Nagel so far. Got to look at that infield shift the Braves put on when Gaetti's at the plate. Off the hands, he was jammed to the pop-up to Klesko. He's got his sprints in, 2 out here in the 7th inning. Our Mitsubishi Championship picture. The last time a team trailed 2-1 in the NLCS and came back to win the series was in 1993 as Philadelphia defeated Atlanta 4-2. Now Atlanta trying to turn the tables on St. Louis. The series will be tied 2 apiece if the Braves can hang on. 2 out, nobody on. Here's Mabry. And the drive into right. Mabry thinking double. Dye comes up throwing good play. It's a 2-out single.
The Atlanta Braves don't really play John Mabry as a pull hitter. He hits the ball more to the big part of the field. Jermaine Dye has a long way to run to get to this ball. But once he gets a handle on it, Mabry has to hit the brakes because Dye has a great throwing arm.
You just can't take as many chances running the bases when you're trailing by 3 as you can in a tie game or a 1-run game. 1-run game, I think it's a good try for Mabry to try to make it. Not now with the Cards down by 3.
1 on, 2 out for Pagnazzi, and ball 1 from Nagel. Out. You know, we talked earlier about the advantage that Tony La Russa had coming into this game with repeating with those 3 starters, Bennis, Stottlemyre, Osborne. Well, now Bobby Cox gets this effort out of Nagel. Maybe a chance to tie the series. Now he goes back to Smoltz, Maddox, Lavin.
Right. With the proper rest, too. Instead of working on 3 days rest, Bobby Cox, if Atlanta can win tonight, He will go with Smoltz tomorrow night, Maddox, and if there is a Game 7, then Tommy Glavine.
Maddox, the loser in Game 2 in Atlanta. Gave up 8 runs, only 3 earned.
And Todd Stottlemyre will be working tomorrow night on only 3 days rest. Smoltz will have his normal 4.
1 on, 2 out here in the 7th inning. Pagnozzi at the plate, set up. 2-2. Pagnozzi with a career high 13 home runs during the regular season. A handful of them were dramatic for the Cardinals. Three and 2 now, and Mabry, the runner at first, will take off. McMichael should be ready out in the Braves bullpen. Three-two pitch. We'll do it again. After Pagnozzi, it's Gallego. If the Cardinals get something rolling, Gallego may be lifted for a pinch hitter. There's the Yankees score, 6-4, and they win the ALCS 4-1. Congratulations to NBC for their great coverage of the 5 games played in that series, and congratulations to the Yankees. All of us at Fox anxiously await the World Series, which we know now will involve New York and one of these 2 teams. Ozzie getting ready down near that batting tee in the Cardinal dugout. 3-2 to Pagnozzi, and another foul.
I think if Pagnozzi does get on, what Tony La Russa will do, I agree with you, Joe. I think Gallego will be pinch hit for by a right-handed pinch hitter trying to entice Bobby Cox to bring McMichael in so La Russa can use Ray Lankford, the left-hander.
1 on, 2 out. Mabry running. Ball 4 to Pagnozzi, and the tying run will walk to the plate. Gallego immediately called back. And Bobby Cox isn't even going to wait. He looks like he's going to go right to McMichael.
I think Bobby Cox should wait until Tony La Russa makes a move, and possibly you could have him waste a player in the process. If he brings up a right-handed pinch hitter, then you can bring in Ray Lankford, or I beg your pardon, you could bring in McMichael, and then La Russa will go to the left-hander, and in the process, waste a batter. But Bobby Cox, by making the move right away, is going to either have La Russa go to Sweeney or Ray Lankford. Lankford with all that power.
So Cox hops out of the dugout immediately with a walk to Pagnozzi. Braves go to the bullpen. They lead by 3. For the 7th inning, let's check on the status of T.J. Matthews. Go down to Steve Lyons. Steve.
Thanks, Joe. I'm standing outside the Cardinals locker room right here. I just talked to Gene Gieselman, the head trainer of the Cardinals. He says that T.J. Matthews has a slight problem on the right side of his groin. Too early to tell if they're going to have to put him on the DL. He's day-to-day right now. Joe, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. Denny Nagel is gone. 2 on, 2 out. Nagel was fantastic. And now it's McMichael against a rookie, Dimitri Young. Ron Gant talking to Dimitri Young, trying to give him a quick cram session on how to face McMichael.
One changeup after another. That's what he told him.
That'd be a good report.
Yep. 2 on, 2 out. Rather patient, 2-0.
I think by not pinch hitting Ray Lankford right now, that's an indication of how that right shoulder is, or the left shoulder, I beg your pardon. Must be really bothering not only throwing, but swinging too.
2 on, 2 out, 2 on the count. 2-1.
And Young is not lunging out. He's not getting out in front of that changeup. He seems to be timing it up pretty good.
over the head of Klesko. 2 runs are going to score. Young headed for third. Safe with a triple.
The other way. Klesko, an effort. The ball hugs the wall. Young with good speed for a big man. I'll tell you, a good play right here was Chipper Jones. If Jones doesn't make this saving catch, McMichael, the pitcher, was backing up home and wouldn't have been able to get behind third base, and possibly Young could have scored.
Now Alicea pinch hitting for Bennis. That is the first extra base hit in the career of Dimitri Young. He had 7 singles at the end of the season.
Couldn't have come at a better time for the Cardinals.
2-0 on Alicea.
That was a great at-bat by a young player. Normally they would be over-aggressive in that situation, but he laid off 3 tough changeups, got the high fastball out over the plate on the 2-1 count, and took care of it.
Now time call as Gene Gieselman is going to trot out and talk to Dimitri Young.
We mentioned it earlier. Gene Gieselman has been very busy the last 2 nights. In the stands yesterday, on the field tonight. T.J. Matthews and now Dimitri Young coming out. Keep in mind, he has no way to loosen up the legs before you pinch hit. There's no place to do any running. So you hit a triple and you're cold and you're tight. Easy to see how he could have pulled something.
You're right about Dimitri Young. For a big guy, he can run.
And the earth shakes when he hits third base right there. Head first slide, dug a trench over there.
In with a 2-run triple, pinch hitting with 2 out of the 7th inning. It's a 1-run game. Tying run at third, 2 out, and a 2-0 count on Alicea. 3-0. Go-ahead run is on.
Mazzoni on the way out to the mound to talk to Greg McMichael. He may be telling him that it looks like these Cardinal hitters have a real good beat on that changeup. They know the scouting report on Greg McMichael. They've seen him in this series already. They've seen him during the regular season. He may be reminding him, don't forget your fastball.
Avery, the lefty, Balecki, the right-hander, getting ready.
Now, earlier on the Dimitri Young triple, we talked about how Greg McMichael was behind home, backing up home, not third. Had Chipper Jones not come up with this ball, the ball perhaps would have gone in the Atlanta dugout, and Young would have been awarded home plate, and it's a tie ball game. Fine play by Chipper Jones to keep the ball in play.
This rally started with 2 out, a hit by Mabry, then the walk to Pagnozzi. Nagel was finished. Pinch hit, 2-run triple by Young. The walk to Alicea. Here's Clayton. 5 in a row out of the strike zone. Caught the outside corner, 1-1.
Bob, you said he may go back to the fastball, and that's what he threw 1-0 to Clayton.
Strike 2. That time Clayton out in front.
One thing you got to remember, if you're a catcher or pitcher in this situation, you got a dance route brung you. And that changeup is what he brung to the dance. And that's what Clayton gets on the 1-1 pitch.
Tough play. McMichael. Safe, and the game is tied.
Another changeup from McMichael. Clayton, a swing very similar to the one before, but this time hits it into fair territory. Uses that speed we've been talking about all night to beat it out.
That's what makes a guy like Clayton doubly dangerous with 2 outs and a runner on third. He can get the infield hit, too, and he did.
Now McGee. He was anxious. Strike 1. High fives for Dimitri Young, who delivered with 2 out. His first big league extra base hit to make it a 1-run game, and he scores the tying run on the infield hit by Clayton. 2 on, 2 out. And strike 2 on McGee. So Denny Nagel, a 100-pitch night, gets into the 7th inning, but will not get the win. 2 of the runs that have scored in this inning belong to Nagel. The tying run belongs to McMichael. Oh, and 2 on McGee. McGriff. The race to the bag is won by McMichael. And the inning is over. But not before a 2-out rally scores 3. The rookie comes through. We're tied after 7. Tied it 3-3 after 7. You rarely see McGee react emotionally, but just nipped at the wire by McMichael.
Well, that's about the extent of it, too. By the time he gets back to the dugout, he will realize that his team has come back to tie this game. Got a chance to win.
Tied it on an infield hit. McMichael gives up the lead, and now the Cardinals hand it over to Rick Honeycutt. What a postseason Rick Honeycutt has had.
Unbelievable.
What he did in the division series against San Diego. He helped set up the save yesterday for Dennis Eckersley. It's been quite a 1-2 punch between the two 42-year-olds, Honeycutt and Eckersley, in the postseason.
This, to me, as you see Luis Alicea staying in the game and obviously continuing to hit 9, this to me is remarkable when you consider in this century there have been 2 players, 2 National League players, to be acquired in mid-season who have won 14 or more games. 2 pitchers who have been acquired in midseason that have won 14 or more games. One was the starter tonight for the Braves, Denny Nagel. The other is the pitcher now, Rick Honeycutt, obtained by the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1983 after going 14-7 for the Texas Rangers.
Acquired for Dave Stewart.
Yeah, right.
Who has been a big
role player in this series with the emotional messages he sent to Todd Stottlemyre.
Yeah, 2 in this century, and both of them are in this game.
Eckersley getting ready here in the 8th inning. Part of the order for Atlanta, the right guys coming up for the Braves: Chipper Jones, Fred McGriff, Ryan Klesko. That is the reason Honeycutt is in the game. Turn Jones around, make him bat right-handed, and have Honeycutt deal with McGriff and Klesko, the 2 lefties. Leading off the 8th inning, a ball from Honeycutt. Jones, a couple of hits this evening. Yesterday, 1 out of 4. Leading off in the 8th inning. 2-0.
Well, Honeycutt is another one of those pitchers that will try to get you to hit a pitch out of the strike zone if he can. Chipper Jones showing good patience here.
I think one of the reasons that Rick Honeycutt is wild to Chipper Jones, he doesn't face that many right-handed batters. This is a very unusual sight for Rick Honeycutt. Used almost primarily for left-handed batters.
3-0 pitch. Caught the outside corner, and Joe West pulls Chipper Jones back to the plate.
That's a strike on a 3-0 count. I don't know if he would call this same pitch a strike 3-1 or 3-2. A little bit off the outside corner.
3-1 from Honeycutt.
Same pitch.
Now it's ball 4. So Honeycutt went right back to that pitch. Let's give you a look at it.
Well, it's not uncommon for umpires in both leagues on a 3-0 count to call a borderline pitch a strike. Honeycutt comes back with the same pitch on a 3-1 count. This time it's a ball.
Okay, we have our situation again. Fred McGriff, the batter, against the left-hander. Do you find here? Tom Pagnozzi coming out. Fred McGriff walking against Tony Fonsis his last time up. Ryan Klesko still on deck. But Bobby Cox with a right-handed hitter available to him. Interesting sequence right here.
Lost in this game is the work done by the rookie Alan Bennis.
Yeah.
An inning and a third of perfect baseball. Strike 1 on McGriff.
I think if Bobby Cox had more confidence in Fred McGriff's ability to put down a bunt, he would be bunting right here, because Freddie has not taken good swings in this series. This is an extremely tough matchup for Fred McGriff.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the only reason he's not bunting now is because he can't bunt. He's never called on to bunt.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Look at that.
Last time he laid one down, he was not wearing an Atlanta uniform.
No, he wasn't shaving either.
With the Toronto Blue Jays.
1 ball, 1 strike on McGriff. 1 on, nobody out. Go ahead run aboard for Atlanta, 8th inning. Wouldn't chase it. 2-1. And La Russa and the Cardinals wanted that call.
Staying away from Fred McGriff's power, keeping the ball on the outside part of the plate. That time a little sharp slider. The 2 pitches before, bigger breaking balls.
Jones a leadoff walk. Go ahead run at first. And a 2-2 count on McGriff.
Hey, in fairness to Fred, he has faced some nasty pitching in this series by the Cardinals. It usually happens when you're going poorly and you're not seeing the ball well. You get the toughest pitchers pitching against you, making the toughest pitches.
Two. Just stays alive. Rick Honeycutt still has one of the best curveballs of any pitcher in baseball.
McGriff trying to even dive out towards home plate a little bit, but that ball just keeps running away from him. Not able to get the head of the bat on it, but does stay alive. Buys himself one more pitch.
That pitch, true to its name, it actually slides away from the hitter.
Honeycutt was behind McGriff 2-1. It's now 2-2. Check on Jones. Jones during the regular season 14 stolen bases in 15 tries. You know, normally you say, well, forget about the stolen base, forget about the bunt, but with McGriff going the way he's going, anything could happen.
Right. And if he does hit the ball, he's not likely to pull it into that hole.
2-2. Should be the first out of the inning. Foul ball, strike one. I should say out number one. It was a foul ball, not fair. And McGriff is now 1 out of 13 in this NLCS.
Slider time. There's one slider away, a big breaking one, another big breaking slider just off the plate. A little sharper slider that time. Hard one in, hard one away. Finishes him up with a soft one. Freddie gets under it, pops it up to the left side. Varying speeds on that breaking ball.
A walk, a foul out. And here's Klesko, 1 on, 1 out. Another pop-up. Mabry wants it. Will deal with a mound. 2 out.
Say what you want, but Tony La Russa has had the matchups for the last 3 ball games that he has wanted. Left-handers, that's going to be all for Honeycutt. I feel reasonably sure. No way he's going to pitch to Javier Lopez. But La Russa has just been brilliant matching up the left-handers against the Atlanta Braves.
And Tim, he'll tell you he likes the way his pitching staff, and in particular his bullpen, matches up with Atlanta.
Yep.
They have 3 left-handers they can go to when you add Danny Jackson to it.
We've seen
right
2 of them tonight.
They go to Eck. The right-hander in. Honeycutt out. What a postseason for Honeycutt. We're in the 8th. We're tied at 3. 15 postseason saves, 11 in league championship play. He got number 11 yesterday afternoon. He rolled in after Honeycutt rolled out. He gets Grissom on 3 pitches. Looking, swinging, looking, and then he gets Lemke on the 400-foot fly ball to center. Eckersley rung him up. Number 11 in LCS play, and he's making his 18th LCS appearance. During the regular season, 0-6, but 30 saves. There's his postseason. He has been tremendous.
And no surprise, a 0 in that walk column. I mentioned it earlier. Mark Lemke told his Brave teammates, if that comes in the game, you got to swing the bats. He's not going to walk us. He's not going to nibble. He's going to come right after us.
The Braves down 2 games to 1. Came into the bottom of the 7th inning tonight, leading 3-0. 2 out, nothing shaking until a hit by Mabry, a walk to Pagnazzi, a pitching change, a 2-run triple by a rookie, Dimitri Young, a walk and an infield hit. That's tied it. The Braves get a leadoff walk in the 8th inning. Now 2 out, and the batter is Javi Lopez.
What Tony La Russa does is he plays a 9-inning game. If Atlanta can get into extra innings in this ball game, they have a much better chance than the Cardinals, because Tony La Russa using his pitchers to win in 9 innings, hoping the Cardinals can come back in either the bottom of the 8th or the bottom of the 9th.
The one luxury he does have is Danny Jackson, normally a starter out of that bullpen. Pitch a little high to Javi Lopez, ball 1.
Well, Eckersley with this trademark delivery, the high leg kick. breaks the hands early, drops down, low three-quarters delivery. One knock on Dennis Eckersley is he does not hold runners at first base. He does not like to throw to first base. He will step off and freeze the runner, but very rarely will he pick off at first base.
Lopez breaks his back. Alicea the flip. Inning over. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Honeycutt and Eckersley do it again. Gant will lead it off.
By Advil, advanced medicine for pain. By Gillette Sensor Excel and the Gillette Series. Gillette, the best a man can get. And by Pizza Hut.
Busch Stadium over 56,000. We wait for the bottom of the 8th inning, tied 3-3. A win tonight, the Cardinals have a chance to clinch this NLCS tomorrow night. And we will have Game 5 for you right here on Fox beginning at 7 o'clock. Right now it's Game 4. And all you want. Ron Gant leads it off. Then Jordan and Gaetti against McMichael.
Well, Gant was the guy in the dugout that gave Dimitri Young the scouting report. Let's see if he can follow his own advice.
I think I saw Dimitri Young giving him a scouting report before he headed out. Ball one from McMichael. You talked about it yesterday, Bob. You can almost go up against McMichael looking for the changeup.
It's something a hitter would normally never do, but a guy that throws it as often as McMichael does, it's probably the smart thing to do.
1 ball, 1 strike. Gant has already been a hero in this series. His biggest day as a Cardinal yesterday with 2 home runs. 2-1. Deep left field. Gant got under it, and it falls short at the track. 1 out.
And a collective exhaling in the Atlanta dugout.
Premature cheering in the Cardinal dugout. Strike 1 on Jordan.
Perhaps if they had the exhale from the Cardinals dugout, they could have blown that ball on out of here.
As it is, it's the first out here in the bottom of the 8th. Now Jordan, who is struggling to get back on track, only 3 out of 15 in this NLCS after a wonderful division series against San Diego. Two and 1.
It's interesting that Bobby Cox has Chipper Jones at third off the line. And the reason I say that, Brian Jordan's not a pull hitter, but Greg McMichael throws changeup after changeup, and that's the pitch you're more apt to pull.
Pulls it into left. Klesko watches and leads. 4-3 St. Louis. Pitching change, McMichael out. He gave up the lead in the 7th. He gives up the tie in the 8th on this.
Changeup pulled. popular as Michael Jordan in Chicago because of this.
And after that home run, Vesuvius erupted here in St. Louis.
The stadium was shaking. The press box was rocking and rolling.
Wow.
And just sitting on a changeup. Ronnie Gant sat on a changeup, just got under it a little bit. Dimitri Young celebrating in the dugout. Brian Jordan didn't miss his changeup.
McMichael gave up the lead in the 7th inning on the 2-run triple by Dimitri Young. The infield hit by Clayton now gives up the tie on the home run by Jordan. 1 out, nobody on. Gaetti, strike 1, as Wohlers has come in to try to shut this thing down right here and now. Number 4 in the league with his 39 saves. He has had 5 straight saves in postseason play, tying a record set by Rick Aguilera in 1991, but no save chance here tonight. You can really highlight 2 rookies. Dimitri Young with a big pinch hit 2-run triple, and Alan Bennis, who closed out that 2-run 6th inning, taking over for Matthews. 97 miles per hour out of the hand of Wohlers for strike 2. Nothing in 2 on Gaetti. Eddie Perez has taken over behind the plate. He came in when Wohlers came in.
Mock chop.
Gaetti went 2 out.
Tell you, not only have the Cardinals scored in this inning, but they have scored as Gaetti goes after the splitter out of the strike zone. First strikeout for Wohlers. The Cardinals have scored with the ability to still leave Dennis Eckersley in the game. Conceivably, with Eckersley coming up 6th in this inning, the Cardinals could have loaded the bases and had a pinch hitter for Eckersley, and then had to go to another pitcher in the 9th inning. They've already used 6 pitchers on the evening. So not only have they taken the lead, but again, they've taken the lead on their terms.
Mabry, one of the biggest hits of the night. Eckersley getting ready for the 9th inning. Mabry had the 2-out hit. It led to the 3-run rally in the 7th inning. A hit, a walk, a triple, a walk, an infield hit. Now here in the 8th inning, the go-ahead home run by Brian Jordan. His 2nd home run of the postseason. People talked before this game saying this is not a must-win situation for Atlanta. It's not a must-win situation for Atlanta in that there is a tomorrow. But this is a game that has slipped away, and a chance that has slipped away to tie this series. They face a 3-1 deficit if they can't overcome this 1-run game. Mabry comes up empty. The Braves have one more shot. Eckersley back to work. Jordan back to right. For 3, St. Louis. Is Dennis Eckersley. He takes to the hill. Brian Jordan goes deep. A rare home run off McMichael, who allowed only 4 during the regular season. This makes it 5 for 1996, and by far the biggest. The Cardinals have a 4-3 lead, 9th inning.
Coming up, we'll all award today's Chevrolet Player of the Game, and we are going to see, guys, the managerial wheels spin here in the 9th inning.
And it may not include Terry Pendleton, even though he is hitting off the tee, because the double switch made by Bobby Cox has his only other catcher batting 9th, and he's a right-handed hitter.
Into center field, falling in a hurry, and a leadoff base hit for Dye. He's trying for 2. And makes it. What a play by the rookie Jermaine Dye. And the tying run is in scoring position.
I misspoke. It could include Terry Pendleton because Joe Aralt is the 3rd catcher as Jermaine Dye rifles one to left center field. And makes it.
Really wasn't even close. What a terrific play by the rookie Jermaine Dye.
Very aggressive base running, and he made it. So I guess when you think about the double switch, Eddie Perez batting 9th, what Bobby Cox was trying to do is protect Mark Wohlers and not Eddie Perez.
Here's Polonia. Pinch hitting, and right now at least showing no signs of bunting. Terry Pendleton on deck. Tying run at second, nobody out, and a 2-0 count on Polonia.
Polonia needs to hit this ball to the right side of the field. If they're not going to bunt the runner to third base with nobody out, it's imperative that he pull that ball.
Big rip, strike 1.
And he did not have a pitch to pull then. A high fastball up and away. Eckersley trying to keep the ball away from Polonia to prevent him from doing what you just said.
All 3 pitches have been outside and either missed or Polonia fouled that back 2-1. Polonia batting for Blauser. Pops it up. So they don't have him bunt. He doesn't advance the runner. And Dye is at second with 1 out.
The thing is, Luis Polonia is a good bunter. You don't normally tie on the road or bunt to tie on the road, but remember, if Atlanta goes into extra innings, they would have the advantage because of a depleted St. Louis staff.
Now Pendleton. You've got Pendleton now. Grissom on deck. Pendleton pinch hitting. Batting for Perez. Grissom will be next. Another pop-up. It's foul. And will get out of play for strike 1.
Eckersley really put a wrinkle in his delivery, literally, to Luis Polonia. After Polonia fouled back that 2-1 fastball, Eckersley, who has not had good luck with his fastball, the left-handers this year, threw him a curve.
Pendleton has seen Eckersley 14 times, has only the 2 hits. A hit here might tie it. Pop up left side, and that will get out of play. Strike 2.
Jermaine Dye has already shown us his speed on the bases. Ronnie Gant in left field, the weakest arm of the Cardinal outfielders right now. Willie McGee in center field, a better than average arm. Brian Jordan, a great arm in right field. But McGee is playing very deep in center field. A base hit up the middle will score Dye easily.
Matter of fact, all the outfielders are playing deep.
He went right. He went left. He goes straight behind him. All three out of play, and the count stays 0-2.
Airborne.
Pendleton up there flailing away and been under the first three pitches from Eckersley.
Now what that tells you is Eckersley has that little hop on the end. You try to hit it squarely, and you just get a little bit under those pitches.
One and two.
The same pitch he threw to Luis Polonia. Breaking ball. A wrinkle.
It appeared he took quite a bit off this pitch, too. He throws a harder slider. This one, you can see the frisbee spin. Just a roundhouse sidearm curveball. Terry Pendleton out front.
It's up to Grissom. Strike one. Dennis Eckersley this season had left-handers hit .296 against him. And he's come up with two big outs against left-handed hitters, Polonia and Pendleton.
Striking Marquise Grissom out on 3 pitches last night.
Strike two.
Yesterday, he split the corner 0-2, trying to do it again.
A ball and 2 strikes on Grissom. Ball game. September showed the Atlanta Braves had feet of clay. That clay now may be starting to crack. 3-1. The St. Louis Cardinals are up on the Atlanta Braves, trying to take the next step tomorrow night and meet the New York Yankees in the World Series. Today, Chevrolet player of the game, Dimitri Young, the 2-out, 2-run triple. He then scored the tying run on the infield hit by Clayton. And then in the 8th inning, the 1-out home run by Jordan. Dimitri Young is our Chevrolet player of the game with a triple into left center field. From all of us up in the booth, we send it down to Steve Lyons, who's with the other hero, Brian Jordan.
I got Brian Jordan down here. Brian, I got on you yesterday because you wouldn't give Brian again a chance to come out. Now you go deep, and you don't come out. What's up with that?
Well, I tell you, I was
was so excited, so pumped up. I was just walking around in the dugout, you know. I think this game belongs to the young kid, Dimitri Young. He really came up big. You know, his first at bat in the postseason, and it was a big one.
Now, your 3, 4, 5 hitters are the guys that did the damage. Guy Eddie in game 2, Gant yesterday, and you're doing to them what they've done all year. Huge 2-out hits.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun. I mean, this whole team has been coming up big in the second half, and we're just continuing to work hard, and it's paying off.
All right, get in there and enjoy it, man. Good job. All right, let's go over to Chip Caray. Chip.
All right, Steve Lyons, thanks a lot. And the Babes shall lead these Cardinals. Alan Bennis, Dimitri Young, and Brian Jordan have given the Cardinals a 3-1 lead. For you here on Fox, the pitching matchup, John Smoltz against Todd Stottlemyre. We're on the air 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock local time. A great ball game again tonight in St. Louis. The Cardinals win 4-3, the final score. For our entire crew, this is Chip Caray. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow night from Busch Stadium. So long, everybody.